IR, MOES, Ministry of Earth Sciences, and all other scientific departments and organizations who have assembled here today to witness the launch of IISF 2023 in the Constitutional Club of India, New Delhi. We are delighted to have with us the officials of Press Information Bureau, representatives of press both from print and electronic media, and others in the launch event of IISF 2023. There was a tragic bus accident happened yesterday in Doda district of Jammu and Kashmir, which happens to be the Lok Sabha constituency of our Honorable Mantriji. In the accident, more than 30 people have died. In memory of them, I request all of you to stand and mourn. Thank you all. Science can be the fulcrum of country's progress and growth, and how it has brought changes in the lives of the common man. The whole purpose is to engage people with the science and celebrate the joy of science. IISF has stepped into its 9th edition this year. Since its inception in Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, Ministry of Earth Sciences, Department of Space, Department of Atomic Energy, and Vigyan Bharati Vibha. IISF 2023 is being coordinated and implemented by National Innovation Foundation India, an autonomous organization of DST. It will be hosted at combined campus of DBT, Translational Health Science and Technology Institute THISTI, and Regional Center for Biotechnology RCB in Faridabad, Haryana from 17 to 20th January 2024. With this brief introduction, I invite Honorable Minister for Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji to invoke the curtain raiser program by lighting the lamp, and I request all the dignitaries on the dais to join him in lighting the lamp.
Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji, Professor Ajay Sood, Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India, Dr. Rajesh Pokhle, Secretary Department of Biotechnology, Dr. M. Ravichandran, Secretary Ministry of Earth Sciences, Dr. Sudhir Singh Bhadoria from Vigyan Bharati, Mrs. Dhan Lakshmi, Joint Secretary from Department of Science and Technology, my distinguished colleagues from DST, DBT, Ministry of Earth Sciences, friends from media, I would like to welcome you all to the curtain raiser of India International Science Festival's 9th edition, which is going to be held from 17th to 20th January 2024. This year's theme of the festival is Science and Technology Public Outreach during Amrit Kaal. As you know that the India International Science Festival started its remarkable journey in 2015, and so far 8 such events have taken place since 2015. This is the 9th edition. And this edition, we are particularly organizing it in the backdrop of several scientific achievements that have taken place during last several years, which includes the launching of Chandrayaan, the development of the COVID vaccine, the indigenous development of 4G and 5G mobile stack, which is getting now deployed in our public sector telecom company BSNL, and India becoming one of the strong and vibrant ecosystem of startups, not only in just information technology, but spanning across all sectors of deep tech and science and technology. This year, therefore, it is the theme that IISF takes our scientific achievements to the public in the form of an outreach where students and other community and public at large gets exposed to the scientific achievements that the country is doing and also get inspired and motivated. The festival is going to host 17 events which showcases not only our scientific and technology achievements but also houses exhibitions, public lectures, popular talks and exhibitions by our startups and also the science games and toys exhibition as well. And we expect that more than 10,000 school children will be involved in the ISF. We are also expecting that 500 young researchers will deliberate on various initiatives in the area of science and technology, and more than 100 startups will exhibit their products and technologies in the startup exhibitions. We are expecting that about 12,000 delegates will be part of such festival, and I am confident that with the support from all of you, we will be able to make this a very, very successful event. Once again, I would like to welcome you to this curtain raiser, which actually marks the beginning of celebration of India International Science Festival. I hope all of you will be able to give it the desired publicity so that we will be able to attract large number of our students and public to this and to become a part of this festival. Once again, I would like to welcome you all today. Thank you very much.
Mentioned every year, IISF has witnessed diversity in its programs in terms of events, participation from a wide spectrum of society, increasing its reach from grassroots to global level. This unique platform of India International Science Festival intends to create an innovative knowledge society to inspire curiosity and making learning more joyful with the youth. I now invite Dr. Arvind Nanadi, Director, National Innovation Foundation, NIO of India, and request him to present the brief about IISF 2023.
Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh ji and all the important dignitaries on the dais. Since much has already been said by my secretary sir, I will not take more than 2 or 3 minutes to elaborate you, because there is a small promo which is also going to come in front of you, which will also explain about the entire part of this IISF.
to kindly launch the promo of IISF 2023, followed by the website of IISF and release a brochure for IISF 2023.
The India International Science Festival (IISF) is a celebration of India's accomplishments and honors in the field of science and technology. It is an initiative driven by the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji as a part of his vision for science for society. The 9th edition of IISF will be conducted at the combined campus of DBT Translational Health Science and Technology Institute and DBT Regional Center for Biotechnology, Faridabad, Haryana from the 17th to the 20th of January 2024. IISF 2023 is being organized by the Department of Science and Technology, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, Department of Biotechnology, Ministry of Earth Science, Department of Space, Department of Atomic Energy, Haryana Government and Vigyan Bharati. IISF 2023 is coordinated and implemented by Department of Science and Technology through the National Innovation Foundation India, one of the autonomous institutes of Department of Science and Technology. IISF serves as a symbol of inspiration and collaboration. The festival provides an invaluable opportunity for scientists, researchers, students and science enthusiasts to share their knowledge, exchange ideas and foster new linkages. The theme of IISF 2023 is Science and Technology Public Outreach in Amrit Kaal. The proceedings of the festival will be conducted in 17 events. Among the various events, some of the highlights are Student Science Village, Face to Face with New Frontiers of Science and Technology, Science Through Games and Toys, Students Innovation Festival, Space Hackathon, Vigyanika, Science Literature Festival, State S&T Ministers Center and TATE's S&T Secretaries and Officials Conclave, IISF Challenge, Education for Aspiring India, National Science Teachers Workshop, Young Scientists Conference, New Age Technology Show, National Social Organizations and Institutions Meets, Science, Technology and Innovation Exhibition, S&T Media and Communicators Conclave, Women Scientists and Entrepreneurs Conclave. So get ready for an unforgettable journey into the world of Indian science, technology and innovation. Be part of this historic movement. Explore, learn and embrace the magic of science at the India International Science Festival. Visit our website at www.scienceindiafest.org for more details.
Request Honorable Mantriji to release the website and also release the brochure.
Coming? Coming. Yes. Screen is not properly shared, so we'll do it. But meanwhile, we'll switch on the lights.
Just mixing the two items. One is the lights on, the other is the lights off.
advisor to Government of India.
Our Honorable Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji, other dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, press fraternity, ladies and gentlemen. It's once again a great pleasure for me to join this event, the launch event of India International Science Festival 9th edition, going to be held from 17th to 20th January next year. It is a festival, and the festival, it's a festival for appreciating the role of science in every aspect of our life. So science is not only done in laboratories, but it is also done by each one of you in daily life. If you look around ourselves, we see that the marvels of science really surround us. So this event really showcases this aspect of science to the young minds. So this is really a festival to celebrate the power of science, and the message is to take it to the masses through our young people. And the theme of this conference this year is so very appropriate: Science and Technology Public Outreach in Amrit Kaal. As was mentioned by Professor Karandikar, Secretary DST, we have so many achievements, especially if you look in the last few months, when the entire country was energized when the Chandrayaan 3 event happened. All of us were at the kind of brink of our chairs when the last moments of the landing was happening. All this excitement of science has to be shared with public. They have to be the stakeholders in the entire system. Now, in science, what we would like to convey to young people, that it's a way of living life. What happens in science? We identify a problem or an issue, then we theorize or hypothesize what could be the reason, then we go and do the experiments and then compare. And if things are different, then you revise your hypothesis. If you think about it, this is almost the way all our actions happen, whether we call it science or not. So this India International Science Festival will capture the spirit of science, and the communication, which is a very integral part of science, will really be put to use to see the excitement of science reaches all stakeholders in society. This festival, I am very sure, with the 16 themes, as was outlined in few minutes back in the small promo, there are 16 events, 16 themes, and one of them is also the startup, which is what the entrepreneurship in the country will really come forward. And you all know that we are on a huge increase in our startup ecosystem. From 600 startups, we have more than 1 lakh startups, and we hope that this festival will kindle the spirit of entrepreneurship in our young people. So again, there is a gaming vertical in this thing. Again, a wonderful way to communicate science through games. And games is probably one of the best way we can communicate science. So there is a lot of excitement, and I am very sure that it will serve the purpose which is reflected in its theme, Science and Technology Public Outreach in Amrit Kaal. And I will join the Secretary in again inviting you all to this event, and really see that we appreciate what science has done for us in this country. In the last few years, it has made huge leapfrog developments, and this is something we all have to enjoy in those 3 days and also all the time. Thank you very much for this.
Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India, Professor Ajay Sood, Secretary Science and Technology, Dr. Abhay Kanetkar, Dr. Rajesh Gokhale, Secretary Biotechnology, Secretary Ministry of Earth Sciences, Dr. M. Ravichandran, Dr. Sudhir, Ms. Dhanalakshmi, members of the fraternity, and the eminent scientists and officials of the ministry, and dear friends from the media. I think at the outset I have to congratulate the organizers for having very beautifully planned out this 9th India International Festival, India International Festival of Science or Science Festival, and have traversed the journey of 9 years in a very consistent and a very glorious manner. Now, as was being mentioned by the Principal Scientific Advisor, it is indeed an outreach festival. So in order to avoid any confusion, it's not a very deep academics happening, but I think equally important is to reach out to those for whom the entire scientific ventures are meant for. And if the ultimate objective of science, innovation, and technology is to bring ease of living the life of a common man, I think that's equally important, rather more important than actually conducting research in the laboratory. And what is the significance, therefore, of having IISF in the year 2023? If you look at, if you ask me, I think since all of us have been due to look at things in a scientific evidence way, there are 3 levels at which we could celebrate this. A, that we have a number of success stories, as was being mentioned by Professor Sood, some of which are actually being celebrated globally. The success stories emanating from India, but receiving a worldwide applause and acclamation. For example, the Chandrayaan, for example, the vaccine. And there are scientific reasons for that too, which we need to understand and want to make people understand, because that also gives a certain amount of confidence in our capabilities, in our capacities. When the world celebrates Chandrayaan, it celebrates because it has for the first time demonstrated that possibly lay dormant, but which is there in the Indian brains. But once an enabling milieu was provided, this unlocking of space happened. There was a free flow of private participants and a free partnership, both knowledge-wise, financially. We had a quantum jump. So this is that we started off much later than some of the other countries, like the then Soviet Union and the United States, when they were on the verge of landing on the surface of the moon. We were actually beginning with a project in a very primitive manner, carrying our baggage on the carriage of a light bicycle. But once given an opportunity, they landed a human being on the surface of the moon in the year 1969. But it was our Chandrayaan which went on later and carried and brought home the evidence of the presence of H2O molecules. And for the first time, gave you a thought of the semblance of human habitat being possible or not being possible on the surface of the moon. So all of those fairy tales which you heard from the grandmother about what kind of people would be living on the moon, what would be their color, creed, and what fairy tales about the fairies dancing. So for the first time, there was an Indian mission which prompted the scientific world to find scientific answers to these grandmother stories. So that is what has given India a gift. Like secondly, vaccine. I know how many of us have realized what is important in the vaccine story is that India is not a country very seriously known for protective health. We don't even care for therapeutic health. If someone falls sick, he waits for 3-4 days to get muscle. Otherwise, he would wait for his mother's blessings and the outcome would depend on the Pishla Janma karma and whatever. So a country which was not very seriously known even for therapeutic healthcare or curative healthcare has today been recognized as a leader in protective healthcare, with having come up with the first ever DNA vaccine. So these are some of the achievements which have actually evidently placed India ahead of others And I know whether you realize that the venue of this year's festival also happens to be the campus where the trial of this vaccine was done. The translation. So that is something which I think makes it a tourist point. Have we been in another country, all the delegates would have been led to that room where the trial happened. So that's how you have a selfie point there, and you can even keep a ticket fee to enter into this. So that's a historical occasion for us in more ways than one. So that is the one. The second reason why we need to celebrate it differently this year is that for the first time, India has also proved that we are at the same pace. Of course, in some ways we are ahead of others, but for many years we were known to be having a time lag. We were always 10, 15 years behind. I think the most distinct example of that is that of television, which arrived in India somewhere in 1970, that will be national capital. In some of the other big cities arrived only by 1975 or so, with the cricket match being shown, the test cricket. Whereas in United States, way back in 1950s, television was a household item. So we were almost 15, 20 years behind in adopting an application. The technology would become popular there, and then we thought what occurred to us. It's no longer so today. Only this year, just 5 months back, Mission Quantum was introduced. The cabinet passed it, and we are in a league of just over 7 countries in the world. And we are at the same level, the R&D level. So we are not behind anybody. And the third reason why we need to celebrate is, I think more important, because scientists don't often discuss that, is that India has set an example of how you convert your scientific research for development purposes. I think we are among the first in the world who have used science and technology in the last 8-10 years under Prime Minister Modi in the development in every sector. You take any ministry, take any department. There's smart cities, there's roads and buildings, we are using hugely space technology. Railway crossings, unmanned crossings, you are using space technology and the other technologies. Telemedicine, of course, I don't need to mention. The digital health, the deep sea mission. All these sectoral areas are now being fully utilized with the application. And this happened only in the last year, because I vividly remember way back in 2015, we had to indulge in a brainstorming for 2 days in Vigyan Bhavan, where the scientists from the ISRO were made to sit with the representatives of each of the ministries to make them realize what they had to offer, because till then there was hardly any awareness even among the government. And that incidentally has also given rise to what the Prime Minister very fondly keeps mentioning, the whole of government approach, the whole of science approach. We have also learned to recognize each other. When the Vidya launching happened, some of those who would have watched it live would recall when I was asked to make the formal announcement, I said the launching is by ISRO, but the mission is whole of science. And made it a point to read out the names of all the institutes, 14 odd institutes, beginning from Tata to IISc, who have contributed one way or the other. And that also brings us the inference and teaches the important lesson that from here on, if we have to grow, we have to grow collectively. The era of silos is over, and the growth has to be. And therefore, now if ultimately, as I said, our ultimate objective is to ensure ease of living, we have to have such programs. In medical science, we had actually started off much earlier because the stakes were higher. So we always had programs running parallelly. We had the CMEs, which are known as continuing medical education. At the same time, we had public awareness programs. The same experts from academia would handle these, but their phraseology would be different, their expression would be different. So in the same way, now we are since expanding it to all these streams of science, we are now into public outreach by the academia, through academia in the language that a common man understands, so that each one of us can make the best use of it. As Prime Minister says that if we have to actually reach where we wish to reach by 2047, each and every citizen of India has to contribute. And therefore, if each and every citizen of India is expected to contribute, he or she can contribute only if he or she is aware of whatever is there at his disposal. And of course, this festival, I'm sure we are also going to make the best use of the media. We have initiated it with a media event. We have now a robust media communication cell in place, and that is also a language which is understood relatively easily by the new generation. And therefore, we would like to communicate with them in the language and the phrase they best understand. So that is behind the purpose. The entire event is being designed with a very deep academic thought, but not necessarily for academicians, more so for those who can make use of this academics. And that is also a synergy. When we talk about synergy between research, academia, industry, we forget the common man. So we are now also linking the common man. And that also gives us an option of having sustainability in our goals. Both sustainability in our research as well as in the startups. Because unless you link up a startup with a lucrative source of income, you will not sustain. So all this, I'm sure, an ecosystem will be created. And this festival, the 9th one, will actually herald the way for that. And ultimately also, I think, it will prove India's, and I'm sure in the years to come, India's global supremacy that we often talk about is going to be determined by India's scientific progress. We talk of economy, we talk of where we rate, but we seldom refer to the underlying scientific inputs which have led to that economic growth. So most of the economic growth is also going to be dependent on our scientific capability. So I think that is what gives us esteem, gives us importance, and that's the reason also science and technology today is being discussed more than ever before. Incidentally, even in the G20, I was introduced as space minister, which I know a very flattering introduction in the Indian parliament because space is hardly a department of the ministry. But the app, though may not have been flattered very personally, but it gave a sense of a broad recognition that India's space has come off space. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Momentum and make the Festival of Science a grand success. Your encouragement and guidance and constant support will set the stage for upcoming IISF 2023 to celebrate. Now take some questions from the press and interact with the media. The floor is now open for an interaction with the media. And I would invite Shamunaji, Additional Director General PIB, to moderate the program. Over to you, sir.
Minister sir, with your kind permission, we are taking a couple of questions. Those questions will be more family questions. And welcome to all the dignitaries on the days, senior officials from the ministry and the friend from the media. The first hand of Mr. Srikant Bhatia. Yes.
सर आजकल देश में बड़ी और हमारे एरिया में बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है, तो क्या साइंस आपका डिपार्टमेंट इस ओर भी कुछ कर रहा है कि लोगों को कम से कम अवेयरनेस हो कि ये किस तरह का वातावरण क्यों बन रहा है? दूसरा मेरा एक छोटा सवाल है सर, आपने कहा कि स्टूडेंट्स और यंगस्टर्स इस कॉन्टेस्ट में आएंगे जो आपका फेस्टिवल हो रहा है, तो सर आप बता सकते हैं कि कौन सी क्लास से लेकर बच्चे स्टार्टअप अपना भी स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं? क्योंकि देखा गया है कि स्कूल कॉलेज में जो एग्जीबिशंस होती हैं उसमें छोटे छोटे बच्चे भी पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं, 8 साल 10 साल 12 साल के बच्चे, तो क्या उनको भी प्रोत्साहन देता है आपका डिपार्टमेंट?
Second part which is unpolluted. तो भाटिया जी ने ठीक कहा कि I think that's important. Because otherwise I would have gone on and I was supposed to speak like a chief guest, not like a keynote speaker. यही हो जाता है once you get into company, you are supposed to light the lamp and do a ceremonial address. Otherwise, you are right. This is a huge issue. कौन सा issue? We have actually started children's expos also. We recently have 2 or 3 of them. And we have programs now in place for the last 3-4 years, besides Technology Secretary can elaborate on that, which are earmarked for different groups of students up to class 6, class 8 to 12. Then also undergraduation, post-graduation, postdoctoral, we have different schemes even for women. And my personal belief is that the most important and the most sensitive and most amenable also group is the one from class 7 to 10 or 12, because that is one when there is a formative year, they are not able to realize their aptitudes and they are led by their parents. So in fact, we have now started, like we had a biotech expo organized by Dr. Rajesh Gokhale and his team, and I suggested we had a one-day exclusive for students who would come and interact with successful startups. My suggestion was that next time we should make it mandatory to get one to have each student bring one of the parents along. So the parents are equally awakened. Sometimes they undo what has been done in these expos. So that change of mindset. So I agree with you, that is important for startups and the sustainable startups. We are already into it. Secondly, we have also started mentorship programs in certain colleges. We hope to go even deeper down to the school level. But the challenge would be to actually recognize and identify the right mentor. You have to have a mentor, like in medical side, we have training trainers. So you have to sometimes also mentor the mentor, so that he can be a right mentor. If he does the unmentoring more than mentoring on a mind which is very impressionable. So it's a new challenge, but we are already open to it. And about the inclusion part, yes, Dr. Arvind is master of artificial intelligence, so I ask him to answer that.
So I think,
Our sciences can also.
so I think let me just elaborate on the second question of this. So DST is running a program like Inspire Manak. In fact, this year itself, in the Inspire Manak program, 8 lakh entries were received from the school children all over the country, out of which 440 were selected, and we had organized an exhibition in Pragati Maidan of these 440, and out of which then 60 of them were felicitated by the Honorable Minister, which were the winners. And some of these ideas and innovations of these children who were from the 10th, 11th class, they are phenomenal and outstanding, I think. So that also shows the innovative capabilities of the young minds.
One thing you should add is that most of them came from big towns and even the smaller towns.
Very small
And
town.
I think that is the underlying fact that we also recognize that the technology is a huge leveler. This mobile internet connectivity has given a level playing field to the youth across the country. No longer they have to be deprived because of the inaccessibility to good library or good text literature. So I think that's.
So here coming to the first question of the environmental pollution. So there is a lot of institutions in the country which have been doing this research on source apportioning. As you know that one of the biggest contributors of this pollution has been PM2.5 particles. And the source apportioning, that what are actually the sources to contribute to this PM2.5 has been an important area of research, whether it is coming from the construction dust or vehicular pollutions, or whether it is coming from the parali burning, and what are the different percentages of these, and what is the composition of these particles in the chemical compositions. This has been an important area of study in many of the environmental sciences and engineering programs across the institutions. And from the Department of Science and Technology, in the past, we have funded such research projects. I know that the research groups in IIT Kanpur and IIT Delhi and other institutions have developed, sensors which can actually do the source apportioning to really find the exact percentages of these sources which are contributing to the overall PM2.5. There are these sensors, sensing technology that have been developed. I know that one of the startups which has developed this PM2.5 sensor, which in the past got benefited out of this DST's, Deep Prayas programs and the incubators. Now those instruments, which are low cost and cheap available, they can be deployed. So yes, I mean, there are these efforts in that directions which we can determine what is the percentages of contribution.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
No, but I think just one thing and one sentence I'll react to it. The issue is too serious to be left to the government alone. or to science secretary alone. We all of us have stake, all of us have contributed to it, and all of us, प्राश्चित भी हम सबने मिलके करना है. The awareness about how best not this doesn't happen, because in spite of repeated reiterations, it is happening again and again. That means somewhere we are not able to actually strike the right chord. So I think all of us have to join together.
So before I move to next question, let me add to what Mr. Bhatia ji asked. Women's innovations को, young scientist conclave, उसके बाद startup conclave, तो students को particularly जैसा सर ने बताया अपने opening remarks में 10,000 school students are likely to participate. And second request is please confine your question to India International Science Festival. Now the next question from Mr. Agarwal. Yeah.
So good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is Sanjay Agarwal. So we've been, going for this ISF, and this time it is closer to the capital, so more people will Delhi. So you had this 1 week, 1 lab which concluded. So I was just wondering that are you taking this festival to the streets of India?
No, actually, this 1 week, 1 lab was the idea that I suggested to the DG after she took over, and she was gracious enough to accept it without any reservations, and proved to be huge success, at least in the sense that 37 of our institutes under CSIR have come to be known, at least in the towns where they are. There's many of them have also got engaged in MOU with the other sister institutes in some of the common projects they're having. And next year we tend to, I have made a small request if we can consider the others in the CSIR to have theme-based projects, and where we could also involve the other institutes in the same vicinity, depending on what theme we've taken up. Like this year also, we highlighted one theme each. So that is, similarly, in the biotechnology, Dr. Rajesh Gokhale was trying to accept the suggestion to have similar kind of an exercise in each of his institutes, which could be a longer one. Is it fortnight? It's a fortnight, because, so that way. So by way of this exercise itself, we have to a large extent been able to reach out to the different parts of the country, even to the remotest part, because if you take together, we have how many institutes? More than, 150, 200 across the country, even to the smaller towns, more number of institutes and the number of states and the UPs. But we were not actually putting them to this kind of utility. That is again public outreach. So that part was lacking. And I think this has also enriched us in the sense that the experience from space is very, very encouraging. In the last 3-4 years, not only that we have improved our financial standing, we have also gained knowledge-wise. There's a very healthy synergism of the young and the old brains, and the brains coming from different institutes. We don't have necessarily IIT, we have all these. Like for example, the first ever startup that we set up, which we permitted the private one, Sky, which is now turned an entrepreneur. They started now manufacturing their own rockets. So when it was being launched, I noticed something on the top of the rocket. I asked Somnath what was it. He said, I don't have a device. Let's find out from the voice there. And they told us, look here, sir, when you launch, you put the Doordarshan cameras here and they catch the pictures. We have put the camera on the top of it. So they catch it. So this healthy synergy, which was possibly not happening, because we were not only dividing ourselves of funding, also the knowledge inputs. So I think this is happening. So I agree with you. The outcomes of this outreach to the last man are multifarious at different levels.
Yeah, Mr. 20 million people from Delhi, both print and electronic, since it is happening in Faridabad.
Mr. Shambhunath has also been very cooperative in arranging the groups of media persons to visit these institutes. Like this Translational Health Institute, which I said, which is the capital of the trials of the vaccines, was not visited earlier.
So I'm ready to take 2-3 bus load of media persons.
Even ISRO, we are now having every day conducted tours. Can you imagine? We have at least now, because the season is started, we have every day colleges and schools from every part of the country. Earlier on it was Diwali. During Chandrayaan launching, we have 1,000 media persons on the spot, which was Diwali. So we have actually opened up, and we have also realized the advantages of it.
So the next, before moving to next question, this will be, I think, last question, because you, sir, has rightly mentioned that, the 8th edition of the ISF happened just in the week of announcement of India's G20 presidency. And this night is happening of the twin global level achievements of Chandrayaan-3 and the COVID vaccine. So on that note, I think the third question from anywhere, media.
For the vaccine and so many things. So this time, Bill Gates and Mr. Poonawalla, are they coming to this? Are they going to be part of the festival?
I don't know.
There'll be a big attraction if they come, you can get there.
No, see, the point is, I have a mixed opinion with that. All this work was done by the gentleman sitting here. But he is not never quoted as Rajeshwala. I don't want to say anything more than that. So this only what happens is when you enter into the market phase, the marketing houses for their own reasons have no other option but to publicize it because they have to sell it. So they get all the limelight. Not that they don't deserve it or we grudge it, but the script writers are there. So I hope you will be able to celebrate them also. You want to say something about the vaccine story because your version has not ever come. The vaccine success of India.
What kind of vaccines that we have in the country right now. Or if you really look at history, 20 years back, even 10 years back, in fact, these vaccine technologies were not even available in the country. And पिछले 5-7 साल में इतना development हुआ है. And obviously all of this has happened because Department of Biotechnology और बाकी scientific institute, जो departments हैं, सबने मिलके ecosystem create किया है जहाँ की आप ये सब चीजें अच्छी तरह से शुरुआत कर सकते हैं. और इंडस्ट्री तो इसको फाइनली शेप देके इसको वैक्सीनेट करता है लोगों को, बट जो टेक्नोलॉजिकल चीजें जो होती हैं जैसे इम्यून एसेज हो गए, एनिमल मॉडल्स हो गए, एंटीजेंस हो गए, या उसका एंटीबॉडीज का जो टाइटर्स हो गए मेजर करने का होता है, इम्यूनोजेनिसिटी प्रोफाइल जिसको कहते हैं, ये सब करने के लिए आपको टेक्निक्स एंड टेक्नोलॉजीज लैब्स में डेवलप करनी पड़ती है. और जब ये डेवलप करके एक साथ मिलके आते हैं तब आपका वैक्सीन प्रिपेयर होता है और वो वैक्सीन फाइनली इंडस्ट्री बनाता है बिकॉज institutions का काम सिर्फ टेक्नोलॉजी डेवलप करने का है. So this has been therefore a very important journey and as honorable ministers के guidance में all the Ministry of Science and Technology ministers, all the departments of science and technology have been putting their best in different ways. Either ये startups है या फिर industries हैं या फिर ये सब जो लोग जिन्होंने सब सहयोग किया. I think ये consolidated effort था and that is why the India has become successful actually. So we should be all, really proud of all this activities. Thank you.
And all the different houses, the one you named is dealing with this your appeals, but the other house dealt with the COVID.
We have invited you. You were there, face to face.
Why he? There are so many others. All of them.
So many others also. But when you were talking about
We lost.
ह्यूमन पैपिलोमा वायरस के अगेंस्ट जो वैक्सीन है वो भी कुछ दिनों पहले ही ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर है.
And I think that again we are among the first, and the significance of this is that this is the government which at this point in time is giving a huge impetus to women welfare. So it has some kind of relevance as far as the prevention of the cervical cancers in women are concerned. So it may not be, I would say, as positive vaccination pointedly, but one of the factors which would prevent that kind of virus which would contribute to malignancy of the cervix. So that's the
So can you proceed if there are more questions? Thank you, sir. Thank you, Shabanaji, for moderating it. And now we are coming towards the end of the program. Now I invite Madam A. Dhanalakshmi, Joint Secretary, Department of Science and Technology, to propose the word of thanks.
It is a great pleasure and honor for me to express my sincere gratitude and thanks to the august gathering on this event of first curtain raiser of IISF 2023 today. I sincerely and honestly thank our Honorable Minister Shri Jitendra Singh Ji for being our chief mentor and revered guide and constantly supporting us throughout the entire program and standing as a pillar of strength with us for conducting of this program. I would also, though they are not present, I would like to place on record the contribution of the government of Haryana. So for the Chief Minister, the Chief Secretaries and the Additional Chief Secretaries, the entire government of Haryana's mechanism has been with us all along and helping us in finalizing all the groundwork. So I would like to thank them also. In addition, I would like to thank our PSA, Shri Ajay Suji, for mentoring us and guiding us in constituting a program committee, finalizing the events, and then guiding us on how to conduct these programs. He has always constantly been our giving us intellectual inputs, which will be a great help for us in conducting this program and program of IAS. I would like to thank Professor Abhay Karandikar, our Secretary DST, for constantly encouraging and mentoring us and guiding us in every step with a broad smile and a large heart. Thank you very much, sir. I would still place on record the support they have given, and they have agreed to be an equal partner with all the other 4 ministries for this program. I thank them also. I thank the Vigyan Bharati's entire administrative setup, the University Secretary Sudhir Ji, Secretary General, President and Secretary of VIBA. Every step of this IAS preparation, they have been with us and they will continue to be with us in making this program a grand success. I would thank NISPA interacting with the Haryana departments to get all the work done. And last but not the least, I would thank NIF director for being a very active, for playing a very active role, and I would request you to invite you all formally for the IIS of 2023. But before that, I would request you all to join our lunch after this event. Thank you very much.
So I really take the opportunity to personally and on behalf of the Honorable Minister, Program Committee, all the organizing secretaries and all the team of Department and National Innovation Foundation, without your presence, festival will not have a value because you are the most important carrier of the science messages in the public. So please join us from 17th to 20th of January 2024 in combined campus of the DBT TISTI as well as DBT RCB. Thank you so much.
Not only India's scientific endeavors have received global recognition, but they have placed India in civilization. I think one of the other very important hallmarks of the government led by Prime Minister Modi since 2014 has been that science, technology, innovation have been made an essential part of the sectoral development, with the ultimate objective of bringing ease of living in the life of a common man. And if that be so, I think it's equally important to have such public outreach programs where we could make each and every citizen of India, the last man in the last queue, aware of whatever has been made possible to make his life more comfortable, more easy, so that he could avail of it. And the festival like this, which is a 4-day event, is in a manner an endeavor in that direction. At the same time also an occasion to motivate the young minds, the youngsters, the adolescents to take up research, innovation as a part of nation building process.
मूल उद्देश्य है। इस वर्ष हमने जैसा कि माननीय मंत्री जी के सुझाव के साथ साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी आउटरीच, पब्लिक आउटरीच इन अमृतकाल, यह एक मुख्य रूप से थीम रखी है और यही एक मुख्य उद्देश्य इंडिया इंटरनेशनल साइंस फेस्टिवल का है। हम विज्ञान और भारतीय विज्ञान, एंशिएंट और मॉडर्न विज्ञान और भारत का विज्ञान के प्रति जो पर्सपेक्टिव है, इसको समाज के सामने रखना चाहते हैं। एंड साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग इस भारत देश के डेवलपमेंट के लिए अच्छी तरीके से एक बहुत ही प्रकृति के साथ, एक सामंजस्य के साथ कैसे उसका डेवलपमेंट कर सकते हैं भारतीय पर्सपेक्टिव में, यह मुख्य उद्देश्य रहता है।